Hey everybody, it's Tyler with Tyler Talks Travel Trailers here at Albuquerque RV in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was on my way to work this morning and I was thinking, maybe I'll do another Surveyor or a Nobo, but when I come to get through the gates at the dealership, I look to the corner of my eye and I see this beauty being dropped off. So this is factory fresh. This is a 2026 Flagstaff Superlight 26 SRD. This is by far one of my favorite Superlight floor plans. It's also our customer's favorite Superlight floor plan because it checks off a lot of the boxes. I'm talking it's got great inside and outside storage. It's got tons of counter space, tons of storage in the kitchen area. You got two really great seating arrangements in front of the TV, and you also have an opportunity to sleep an extra guest if you occasionally have one. So overall, this is just a very versatile floor plan. And like always, we are gonna do the specs first. It takes me 1 minute to do those specs, and then we'll dive inside. Let's go, guys. So the basic specs on this 2026 Flagstaff Superlight 26 SRD. Your unloaded vehicle weight is 6,554 pounds. Your cargo carrying capacity is 1,920 pounds, which brings your potential fully loaded weight to 8,474 pounds. Your hitch weight is 674 pounds. Your exterior length is 29 feet 9 inches total. Your exterior height is 11 feet 3 inches. Your exterior width is 8 feet. Your tanks, your fresh water tank is 54 gallons. Your gray water tank is 45 gallons. And your black tank is 45 gallons. Your awning size is 21 feet. Let's jump inside. All right, everybody, now that we got the specs done, we will go inside first and work our way to the outside. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I am probably the most in-depth tour person on the tube, but I try to give you as much information as possible and also do a lot of measurements so that way you can get a better idea of the space that you're working with, because it can be a little hard just seeing it on camera, but I try to make it to where you don't have to go look up another 7 videos to get one of your questions answered. So hopefully today I will answer all of your questions, but check out this floor plan. This, as you noticed, it does have 2 doors, so 2 entryways, and I will explain why later on. But as you can see, the door in the back leads to the living/kitchen area with 1 slide out. The slide will be on the driver's side right there. You can see where it's all framed out. And as I stated, this is going to check off a lot of the things on your list probably because, I mean, it's just perfect. As you can see, like I said, tons of counter space. Check it out. As well as in the the back, you have your U-shaped dinette. So I love when they give you a U-shaped dinette because it just gives you a lot more opportunity to seat more people, as well as, you can definitely sleep adults on U-shaped dinettes. Like I said, I do some measurements, so let's get into this. Your tabletop is going to be 27 by 34 right here. Nice big table. Like I always say, if you want to ruin some relationships, pull out the Monopoly table. You can actually fit the whole family around that table. And this thing is sturdy. Look at how massive that pole is. Like, this is going nowhere. Another thing that I like about it is you can actually shift it. So check it out. So a lot of times these U-shaped dinettes, they're like super close to this side, and then like if you have adults sitting over here, it's kind of hard if it's just right against their gut. So you can undo that little lever and give yourself a little more room. And then when you want to turn it into a bed, I can't do it with one hand, but you'll push this lever in and then push down, and it telescopes down to these little tabs right here. And then you throw those cushions on top of the table and you got a good sized bed. I measured it, I think, correctly. If you look on the manufacturer website, it looks a little bigger, but I measured to where you're actually going to be able to sleep. You're not going to be tucking your head underneath this. So the bed itself, when it's put down, you're looking at 43 by 75. So that's about 6 feet 3 inches in length right there. 43 by 75. So you could even probably sleep 2 adults if they're close enough. So a lot of opportunity to sit people, sleep occasional guests. Over here to the left, I do love that they gave you kind of like these end tables. They could have made it bigger, but I like these because you have a place to set stuff. These are going to be on both sides, 9 by 44 of little counter space on both sides. You do have storage down below. This is the same on both sides, so I won't open both of them. but nice big drawer right by the door. You know, if there's those tools that you need to access when you're parking it, you got your tools right here, or whatever you feel like you need to put, maybe some board games and stuff. This is gonna be 14 by 27 and 8 inches deep. So that is a nice long drawer right there on both sides. You can't store stuff from inside, but you do have storage on the outside that we'll show you. Another thing that I love that they did is they gave you equal plugs on both sides. You got USB down below and USB-C. Those are nice because they'll work off the battery. You don't have to be plugged in to use those. The one above is obviously your standard plug, and it will still work without a generator or shore power, and I'll get into that later. But I love that they gave you those equal plugs on both sides. So, you know, it doesn't matter where you're gonna be sitting, you're gonna both spots will have plugs if you need to work on your laptop or just charge some pads, and then iPads or phones, whatever, tablets. But that's why I like those end tables, because as you're charging stuff, you could set it right there. Up here is also good storage all the way across. So if you need to store even more entertainment stuff, books, things like that, you got that storage all the way across. This is gonna be 12 by 93 and 11 inches tall. So wall to wall ceiling. I really like that glass inlay that they do on these. The cabinetry is top notch in these Flagstaffs, and I'll talk about that when we get into the kitchen, which we're gonna do right now. They did change some stuff on this area, and you're gonna laugh when you see this, but they did make the fireplace a little shorter. It used to go like it was a long one, and I'm not mad at that fireplace right there, because I would prefer, you know, having a little more cabinet space and still have the opportunity to have that fireplace. And these come in handy because it is basically a space heater. So if you're at a campground, KOA, you need to just cut that chill in the morning, throw that on, and then you can cut the chill using electricity instead of wasting your propane. If you're at a campground, you might as well use their propane, so you could change different settings. How cool is that? Let's see. And then the temperature, you could change it. I usually turn it on and then turn off the heat. So if you just want the ambiance, you can, but I'm gonna turn that off so that way it doesn't roast me in here, because that thing does work good. Up above is probably the weirdest drawer I've ever seen. Watch, look at this. What the heck is that? I was thinking like maybe you could put remotes. Dude, that is so tiny. What are you gonna put in there, like a piece of paper? I opened it, I was like, what the heck? 13 by 16 and 2 inches deep. I don't know, I'm curious what their thoughts were for this. I was maybe thinking remotes, but it might, like you can maybe fit an iPhone in there. I don't know, but you can find something to put in there. 13 by 16 and 2 inches deep. Whoa, boy, that's a drawer right there. But a little different, never seen that before. But I am happy with this side. You do have the storage that you normally wouldn't get on the last year's model because of that fireplace. This can be 11 by 23 and 19 inches tall. Nice deep cabinet space. And then the one down below is a little more shallow, 11 by 13 and 15. Oh, 11 by 20. No, that is 11 by 13 and 15 inches tall. It doesn't go as far back because there's a little panel. I love the magnets that they use instead of the rolly pins. Those tend to stretch out over time, and then you get to your campsite and all of your plates and bowls and cups are on the floor, and that is no good. Up above, you have a ton of counter space right here. If you're using from the stove top to here, you got 24 by 35 of counter space. But the great thing is with these stove tops is you can actually utilize this as prep space as well. So when you're not using it, if you have all of this counter space right here, you're looking at 24 by 84 of counter space right there. Like I said, this is gonna check a lot of the boxes. The storage, the counter space, everything. Over here, you got your stove top. So when you're ready to use it, flip this back. And then you got your backsplash, your 3 top burner. And then down below, you got your fancy dancy lights. It does have the igniter, and then your good size oven. It goes down to here, so you could probably fit a full size turkey in that thing. Then when you're done, flip this back over. And you got your knife holder right there. It's kind of hard to tell, but a lot of storage once this is down to make sandwiches and prep meals and stuff like that. You got your light fan combo. and your microwave. Obviously, this is just a standard microwave because it gives you the oven. One thing I want to point out is Magic Chef, and Magic Chef. So all good quality name brand appliances throughout this kitchen. They're not just piecing it together with random brands. Over here to the left, you do got your farm style sink. I know it's just what they call it in the industry. You got this kind of for a drying rack or added prep space. If you use all of this from wall to right here, you're looking at 25 by 46 with that sink top on. And then when you're ready to use that sink, pull this off. And then nice stainless steel sink, 14 by 25 and 7 inches deep. So nice big sink. I had a customer tell me this a while back, and I never thought about it. They're like, sometimes they make these sinks so small, like half the size, and you can't clean your pots and pans. You're telling me you're not going to use pot and pan when you're out camping? So it is a big enough sink to actually get those pots and pans cleaned. You do have this that comes down so you can spray stuff off, and a nice metal faucet. All looks nice and sleek. All of your countertops are solid surface countertops. It is not Formica, so good quality. Put this back on there. But like I said, a lot of counter space in this, which, you know, people don't really realize how much counter space they really use when they're actually, you know, cooking in the kitchen. And they gave you some more drawers. I consider these real drawers. You got your sponge holder right here. And then down below, you got these two drawers. That's going to be 11 by 11 and 5 inches deep. And this one is just a little bit deeper, 11 by 16 and 8 inches deep. 11 by 16 and 8 inches deep. So nice place to put your utensils. Sometimes these manufacturers don't give you drawers. I don't know why, but love that Flagstaff did that. And then to add more counter space, bam, look at that. You got a little extension right there. That's going to be 17 by 22 of added counter space right there. You do need to put that in, so when you put the slide in, so just be cautious of that. Up above, you got more storage maybe for your cups, bowls, plates, things like that. This is going to be 11 by 27 and 19 inches tall. One thing I want to point out with all this cabinetry is it's real wood cabinetry. It is not paper wrapped on the front facing doors. So real wood, you got the raised beveled edge, hidden hinges, just a high quality construction on the cabinetry. Not only that, but Flagstaff actually hangs all of their cabinetry with galvanized steel behind it. Other companies use aluminum. You got to imagine, I'm sure you can tell which one's going to be stronger. And it's a true story. I've mentioned it before. I actually had a customer that rolled their Flagstaff, which is not good, but all of their cabinetry was still hanging on the walls when they actually opened up the door. It's crazy. They did end up being okay, thank God. Up here you do have a little more storage, 17 by 18 and 19 inches tall. That goes really far back right there. So like I said, a lot of good storage throughout this kitchen area as well as counter space. Moving on to the left, we have even more storage. This one's a little more shallow, but these are going to be 9 by 19, and they all range in different height. So this top one will be 14 inches tall, 12 inches tall, and then this one's 12 inches tall. So 9 by 19. You got floor to ceiling storage in this area. So this is a nice little pantry. You got to imagine this is a couples coach, so you don't necessarily need to bring your entire kitchen along if it's just the two of you. These are going to be 9 by 19 as well, and 24 inches, so a little more height, and 16 inches on the one down below. I love when they give variations of height, because when it's all the same height, you're kind of limited on certain things. You know, it's nice to have a variation of height in that cabinetry. To the left, you got the 10 cubic foot, 12 volt refrigerator. That is multi-swing, I made that up. Dual swing, I guess you could say multi-swing, check it out. Pretty cool. Like I said, it is 12 volts, so these things cool so much faster than the gas electric. Usually gas electric you need to have on the night before. These get cold in like 15 minutes, you can still feel these getting frosty. This is the TV mount that hooks on outside, I believe. That's pretty cool. And then you got your hose, coil hose. And then down below you do have your freezer. This is about 18 inches deep, so it goes down there. People seem to like these sliding ones. The little drawer. You do have a tire monitoring system. There it is. I'll talk about it when we go outside. And then you have a filter. And this trailer does filter all the water, the shower, the sink, every water source that you might be using will be filtered. I will pause right here for a sec, but most likely I will cover everything because I promise you I am the most in-depth. I already told you that. Over here to the left, we're getting onto the slide out where the fridge is and your theater seating. I'm a huge fan of the theater seating. They do make them with end tables, but when you get a table, they don't put those end tables, but I have added it before if that's something you want, if it fits. Sometimes it won't fit. But you got your cup holders on both sides for those cold snacks, and then we will sit down, and then you just pull this little tab, and yeah. It does hug the wall and lean back. So if you want to snooze and take a nap, it's cold in here too. Those ACs work really good, but nice comfy couches. You do have a charging pad right here to charge your phone. And then over here, you do have a little cubby for remotes and stuff like that. I did not measure that. This is going to be 67 inches long, this couch right here. So you're not like right on top of each other. You actually got some space. One thing I do want to point out is the TV arrangement. Like I told you, it is honestly perfect. I don't think they could have done it any better. So this will come out. And I did get some subscribers. Let me unhook it real quick. I did get some subscribers that wanted me to start giving like a point of view from both sides of the couch. So we will do that. Check it out. They finally put a TV straight on. I'm sitting on the left side, and then there is your right side. So it's perfect. And then think about this. If you're all hanging out at the table, swivel it this way, and literally everyone can see the TV from the dinette area. Usually someone has their back facing that TV at the dinette, but here it is perfect. So overall, the TV placement is perfect. Even facing, you could face the kitchen. This is going to be, let me push it in real quick. This will be a 32-inch smart TV. So it's got all the apps ready to go. You got your Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime, all that good stuff. And it just locks in against the wall when you're going down the road. So, what do you guys think? Lots of great windows too in the back. That's why I love rear dinettes, because imagine kicking back, you can open all these windows, have a nice view looking out, and all of your shades, you have the privacy shade or the day shade, and then you have your blackout shade. So if you're like a vampire, you need that blackout shade because you don't want light coming in, you can black out those windows. And you even have one right here, and it goes from bottom up. So if you just want to get some light in, but you don't want people poking in and peeking through your window, it does come from the bottom up. Your plugs in the kitchen area, I always like to point these out. You got one plug there, you have another plug there, and another plug right here. So good placement of all of, in the kitchen area, you could definitely bring a lot of appliances along. Keurig, coffee pot, stuff like that. So everywhere there's counter space, they give you a plug. I like this backsplash, that looks really good. And check it out, check it out. What? They are touch now. How cool is that? So that'll cover the plugs in the kitchen area. Now talking about interior height. From the floor to the ceiling, you got 6 feet, 8 inches of headroom. So not only that, but it has a vaulted ceiling. So it's kind of hard to tell in video, but it's actually rounded. So it's really great, you know, if you get a lot of snow or rain where you're at, it's not gonna pool up there and it's just gonna kind of flow off nicely. I'll talk about the roof and the warranty on that once we get outside, but that will be your living area. Overall, I love this space. It just flows perfectly throughout the entire thing to actually have guests in here and hang out. Moving on to the bathroom. All right, I wish they would have done a pocket door right here, but I guess I could kind of see why, because they gave you a little bit of cabinet space, so I'm not super mad about that. but you do have a pocket door in the other room. So we will go into this bathroom. Nice big bathroom with plenty of height in that shower. I did measure that as well. I always encourage you guys to do this as well. When you go look at trailers, sit on that commode and make sure it's nice and comfy, because the last thing you want to do is have an uncomfortable experience in the bathroom. There's your plumbing right there. This does have a porcelain toilet, so good quality toilet. And I love that they angled it sideways so you're not cramped in here. So they kind of offset it. I will sit on this to kind of give you a reference. So when you're sitting here from the toilet to the door at an angle, you're looking at 22 inches of knee room right there. So I feel like most people are going to be just fine with that. And then let me turn you around so you can see my shoulder room. So you might think, oh man, you got plenty of room on this side. You got the wiping room. And then if you want, you can move this door, and then you have a lot of extra room. So I love that they did the tri-slide door. You can, still have all that space right there. So I think most people will be pretty comfortable in this. Turn you around nice and slow so I don't make you sick. The floor space in here, when the door is shut, obviously the toilet's going to take up some of that room. You got 42 by 42, so you got a square right here. You can actually get out of the shower and dry off. Like I said, this is a tri-slide door. This is great because you can move it all the way to the other side. But as you can see, there is 3 panels and gaskets, so you do not need to worry about the water coming out of the shower and then you slipping and breaking your neck. So we'll push this over and I will step in there. I did make measurements of this too, but just to give you an idea, I am 5'7". I got plenty of room, as you can see, especially because of the skylight. That definitely helps. One thing I do want to show you, and there is not a tag, but I will explain it. These are for all my dry campers. We'll explain this and then I'll give you the measurements of the shower. So this is for dry camping. If you're someone that's boondocking, water goes quick. It is a 54-gallon freshwater tank, but it goes pretty fast when you're going to shower, because what you do is you turn your water on, you stick your hand out, and you're waiting for that water to get hot. Well, what about all that water that you're wasting is just going to your gray tank? With this system, you'll flip this down. It'll circulate the water through the lines. This will change to like a grayish color. Then you know it's hot, and then you flip it over, and then it'll spit the water out. So really nice way to conserve your water. One thing I do like too is look at the shower head. It's actually at a good height. It's not down here like some companies. So like I said, I'm 5'7", and it is above my head. Talking about room in the shower pan itself is going to be 24 by 37. 24 by 37 in that shower pan, and headroom from the shower pan to the skylight, you are looking at 6 feet 6 inches. So if you're 6'7", your head's going to be in the Space Dome and you'll be seeing out while you're showering. So 6 feet 6 inches, I feel like most people will be comfortable, but it is possible to have a 6'6" person. Turn you around real quick, nice and slow. You got some underglow on your sink. You got decent counter space on this side. I forgot to mention that, but you do have a little bit of counter space for your straightener, hair dryer, things like that. You got your plug, and then your sink is not a bad size, 9 by 13 and 5 inches deep to wash your hands, brush your teeth, do what you need to do. You got a metal faucet right there. This is that little tag for the shower miser. If you want to see that, pause it. There you go. And then you do have your medicine cabinet, pretty standard, right there. And your mirror. You do have a linen closet, which I'm happy about. So you got plenty of storage for all your bathroom essentials. These are really deep. Plenty of space right there. These are going to be 13 by 20, and then they range in height from 12 inches tall, 12 inches tall, and 15 inches tall. 13 by 20 floor to ceiling storage right here. So once we open this, see, this is what I like. I like when they give you arrangements, different variations of height, because not everything you put in these is going to be the same height. So this one's going to be 13 by 20, but this one's 24 inches tall, and the one below that is 17 inches tall. So I think that's going to be fantastic storage for your toiletries. Whoa, almost broke my back. So overall, not bad in this bathroom. You even got the big fart fan, baby. It's got 4 speeds, and that thing will definitely pull some air. And then also it does have the rain cover. So if you accidentally, leave this open, you don't have to worry about rain getting in. I actually encourage that when you're going down the road. That way when you get to your campsite, it's not all stuffy in here. So it's nice to have that rain cover so you can keep it open going down the road. You do have one vent in here for your air conditioner, and your one vent is going to be, can't find it. Oh, there it is. Your heater vent will be right there. Moving on to the bedroom. You guys are gonna love this bedroom. Try to turn you slow. And as you can see, they did a pocket door. Huge fan of pocket doors because it just gives you a lot more space. No wasted space on a swinging door. It would have been cool if they did it on both of them, but I'm sure there is a reason why. Check out that beautiful bedroom. You got a north-south facing bed. This is a true 60 by 80 queen. If you're new to the RV world, they do give you RV queens sometimes, which is 60 by 74. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm not gonna lie to you, Flagstaff has top-notch everything, but pretty much every manufacturer, the mattresses kind of suck. So if you wanted to, you can go out to a mattress store and get yourself a fancy Tempur-Pedic, and it'll actually fit in the space and not hang over, or you can get a pad, that won't be hanging over. So 60 by 80, keep an eye out for that. You got plenty of room to get around the bed, so you do not need to disturb your partner. And I did measure how much room you got. So if we shut this sliding door, see if there was a swinging door, how much space that would take. You wouldn't even be able to get in here. So in front of the bed, you got 18 inches from the bed to the door. And then both sides, they're like about 16 and a half or 17 inches. So I would say about 16 and a half inches on both sides. Actually, this one will be 16 and that one will be 17 inches because you got a slide out wardrobe. So it is a little narrower right here, so 16 inches. And just to give you an idea of how far this cabinet space goes back, just so that way you know, because you might have to shimmy back a little bit. This bed is 60 by 80, and this counter space goes back 50 inches. So just to give you a reference, you do have plenty of space for your, if you have a CPAP machine or anything like that, I think this is gonna be perfect to place it, and a little end table with a lot of height, so that way you could put a night light or whatever you like, a lamp, but it will fit the CPAP machine, which is great. So 17 by 23 for this countertop right there on the side. And then you have 2 different types of storage. I did forget to measure these, but you have this one, and then on the other side, it's an actual drawer. So equal plugs on both sides. You do got your standard plugs and your USB and USB-C. I will talk about solar here in a bit because those plugs will be coming in handy. Like I said, it does have one slide out right here, and it will come to the mattress. So if you wanted to use the bedroom while you're going down the road without putting this out, you can. Each one of these storage areas are nice and deep. These are gonna be 17 by 17, but the top one's 15 inches, the middle one's 14 inches, and this bottom one is 16 inches tall. Couple variations right there. And then this is your hanging wardrobe. Nice big hanging wardrobe to hang all your clothes. This one is going to be a nice size. This is 17 by 20 and 45 inches tall for this slide out wardrobe. You do have storage up and across, wall to wall, with that nice glass inlay on that front facing cabinetry. So wall to wall storage. This one's a little harder to kind of reach, but this is great storage for winter clothes, extra blankets, stuff like that. This is going to be 14 by 93 and 12 inches tall. So all the way across, you got this added storage up above. You can never complain when they give you extra cabinetry, even if you kind of got to reach for it. You do have your reading lights right here. Just keep in mind, not all of them are touch, just the ones like in the cabinets, because these ones, they don't turn off. But they're doing this nice light on the 2026s. It's a recessed kind of puck lighting, and it looks nice and flush with the roof versus the bulb one. Down below, you do have storage as well. Oh, I forgot to measure this one. Sorry, guys. Let me open this real quick just so I can kneel down a little better. So I always mention this because I don't like to cut corners. Some of you might be new to my channel, so I mention the same thing every time. See all that aluminum framing? How awesome is that? So most companies, they won't aluminum frame like under the bed or the dinette. They'll frame it out in wood. Flagstaff is 6-side aluminum framed, meaning the front wall, the back wall, both side walls, the roof, and the floor are all aluminum. But they go even a step further, and they aluminum frame underneath your bedding and under your dinettes. If this had bunks, it would be aluminum framed. So you got to imagine when you go to sit on the bed and put your shoes on, you know, putting that stress on that wood framing. I have seen them crack before. So if you want, sometimes it's a little cheaper to buy a little better quality right from the start, because you won't have to be fixing things in the future. Dang it, I forgot to measure these ones too. Sorry guys, but probably about 15 inches long, 13 inches wide, but not bad. You got 2 of those on both sides for some drawers, put your socks and stuff like that. You do have a front windshield, so you get a nice view, and then that shade just pulls up and it magnetically sticks. Like I said, another 15,000 BTU air conditioner in here, and that thing feels good. The great thing too is you can control them individually. So you have your thermostat for both of them. Your TV will go up here. So you got backer board, and they are already giving you the 12-volt plug for the TV. Both TVs will be 12 volts, so you don't need to be plugged into a generator or shore power to operate them. So, pretty nice bathroom. I wanted to see if there was some sort of cubby back there. Turn you around so you get one more look, and then we will talk about some of the features and options on the control panel. But man, I love this. Wait till you see the storage outside too. It is just amazing. This doorway is going to be 33 inches wide, just so that way you have an idea. And this one's going to be 23 inches wide for the doorway right here. Oh yeah, look at that. You cannot go wrong with this floor plan. I think I've sold it every time we get it. So talking about solar, this will have 200 watts of solar and a 2,000 watt inverter. And like I said, some of these plugs are going to come in handy a lot, because see how it's kind of hard to see it, but it says inverter circuit. That means that the inverter is tied into these plugs. So the ones by the bed also, like if you have a CPAP machine, you could plug it in and all your plugs are going to work without being plugged into a generator or shore power, because of that 200 watts of solar and 1800 watt inverter. Almost forgot, I talk about so much solar on different brands. You got to keep track of them. So what do you guys think? We will talk about the control panel, but first I wanted to tell you why there's 2 doors. So I don't really need to put the slides in, because I can explain it just fine, because when this slide is in, it'll come to that countertop right there. Travel mode is absolutely perfect in this trailer. So when that slides in, you can easily access all of this counter space. You can easily get to the fridge, because it'll come to like right here. If you're loading groceries or anything, you could come in through this door. But how would you get to the bathroom? So Flagstaff was nice enough to realize that and give you another door, so you could still come in through here and access that bathroom. Imagine how much money manufacturers save on just not putting one door on thousands of units each year. So they'd probably save a lot, and they could easily do it, but they do give you that second door, you know, just for convenience to be able to get in and out. Moving on to the control panel, and then we're going to go outside and finish this off. Up here is your control panel. You got your awning lights, step lights, interior lights, water heater, water pump. You got an electric water heater and gas water heater. This is all Bluetooth, as well as your Bluetooth indoor and outdoor speakers. So you got different zones. So you have that speaker there and that one there. But one feature I really wanted to talk about with you is this little button right here. This one, tank heater. So there's 2 ways that you can heat the underbelly. So if you're someone that likes to camp in cold weather, this is a great feature. So you can either have it heated and enclosed. You actually have 3 options, but I don't really count radiant heat. But usually you can have heated and closed, so there'll be a duct blowing into that underbelly. Or you have the 12-volt heat pads. So those are 12 volt. And I already told you it has solar, so it'll constantly keep these recharged. The benefit of that is, let's say you go out hiking or fishing and you're in a place that's freezing. you don't have to keep your heater running the whole time you're gone. You could put those 12-volt heat pads on, and they're smart tank heaters too. So they go on automatically and off automatically. So it's a really nice way to keep your tanks from freezing without wasting propane. Or think about it, if you're going through a cold state, like maybe driving through Colorado, what are you gonna do if your tanks are filled with water? You know, you can't go down the road with your heater going. So you can keep those 12-volt heat pads on, and then you're gonna get to your campsite and everything will be just fine. You don't have to worry about your tanks freezing and cracking on you. So I'm more of a fan of the 12-volt heat pads. So great feature right there. We will go outside and talk about some of the construction. I usually like to pause right here in case I do miss something. Like there's a few things I don't discuss because we'd be here for 3 hours. But I hope you guys are getting a lot of good info from this. I can do special orders on all of these as well, so give me a call. You do get our sales tax, even if you don't have a physical address. It's called the Sunshine Law, so you can get 4% state tax here in New Mexico. Look at these. So these steps are a little different. See how it has the little gas strut? Look at how easy this is. One finger. Yeah? That is 60 pounds of metal that you're bringing up and down, and the last thing you want to do is drop it on the dog. So I like that they did it on both sides. So it's got that gas strut and the nice long drop handle down to the first step. I got started early this morning, pretty excited. Got here and just got straight to work measuring stuff. Let me know if you guys like the measurements. I started it about 2 months ago and people seem to like it. So up front, you do get auto level now on Superlight. So just hit a button and it'll level itself. Get to your camping a little sooner instead of having to level stuff 5 minutes and you're already sitting in a chair kicking back. You got your 30-pound propane tanks, the bigger ones, dual battery box, and the battery disconnect down there to turn it off. Look at that. There's a bunch of bugs on it. We haven't even cleaned it yet. All right, over here you got massive, massive pass-through storage. So you got your luggage latches and your magnets, and look at this. Holy smokes. This could be an extra room for people. Just put a pad in here. So this storage is going to be 40 by 93 and 28 inches tall. So it looks big on camera because it is big. That is a lot of storage. And just to give you a reference of what you can fit in it, because the doorway is going to be a little narrower when it comes to right here, you're looking at 23 by 33 of room to kind of put stuff in or angle it. There's your inverter over there. You got lights, and like I said, the aluminum framing throughout and nice treated wood. It's not particle board. You got frameless windows, so there is no gasket to get brittle on you, especially in this heat. So it is one piece glass. They kind of open out from the wall. So if you leave one open and it's raining, you don't have to worry about water getting in. One thing they did discontinue is the griddle. Boo! Come on, man. So they did discontinue the griddle, but they do still give you the bracket. And then you have your propane connection right there where that yellow cap is. So if you wanted us to order it, we can get it, no problem. But 26 models did discontinue. Moving on to some safety features. If safety is important to you, right here is going to be important. So right off the bat, you get a Goodyear Endurance tire, good quality tire off the lot. You have Never Adjust Brakes by Dexter. You're supposed to adjust your brakes after a certain number of miles. A lot of people don't know that. These ones self-adjust. Then this does have a torsion axle. See how there's no leaf spring? Automotive grade independent suspension. So it'll flex. Imagine how much that's going to help the frame of the trailer. You know, you hit a big pothole, or maybe you're on some rough roads. That suspension is going to help the longevity of this trailer a lot. So nice, good independent suspension. And then it has a tire monitoring system around the rim. So it will alert you if your tires are getting too hot, too low. Nice tool. You'll get that monitor in your tow vehicle. And then it has the balancing beads to keep the increases tire life. So there's beads in the tires that will keep your tires balanced. So if that's not safety, I don't know what is. You got Never Adjust Brakes by Dexter. You got a torsion axle, Goodyear Endurance tire, the balancing beads, and the tire monitoring system all in that one area. This is a 6-gallon water heater. I promise you, if Flagstaff thought tankless was better, they would do it. Let me tell you some things about tankless. They don't do very good at high altitude. So us being at a high altitude, that's not going to be good. And also if in cold weather, you're not going to get a hot shower. It's going to be like lukewarm because that little tankless water heater is going to be working so hard. So why would you want tank heaters to go in cold weather, but then have a water heater that can't handle it? So I promised they would do it if they thought it was beneficial. You do have LED lights all the way across as well, and a nice big awning. This is a TPO commercial grade rubber. I could go on and on about the roof, but it is a lifetime warranty up there. And they do give you the ladder. A lot of companies are not giving you the ladder now. It's really weird. So fully walk on roof. You can get up there, make sure everything's all good, check on your solar. Having a ladder is huge nowadays because manufacturers are not doing it. Dang, this thing is dirty. I'm faster than the detail crew. I already got videos done. So underneath the dinette, like I told you, all aluminum, where most companies will be wood. This is going to be 17 by 77 and 14 inches tall. Did not measure that door, but we will keep moving on. This is going to have a receiver on the back that will hold 300 pounds, so like a cargo rack, bike, stuff like that. 50 amp plug, potable water, and this is a rack and pinion slide system. So if you look at the video when we were inside, it's a nice flush slide. There is no lip that you have to step up. This is also going to help because you could put it out partially without damaging it. Really nice slide system. Rack and pinion slide, also known as a through frame slide. These are solid. Got another storage area right here. This is going to be 12 by 26 and 68 inches tall. It goes up there. You can put some fishing poles in this storage area. 12 by 26 and 68 inches tall. I will talk about the outer walls. Getting a little long. Oh, that one's locked, but it is the same. And you got your docking lights. Looks really good. Let's talk about the wall construction real quick. Like I said, so I got a lot of new people here and I do not like to cut corners. So the way they make these walls is it'll go fiberglass, then it'll go either Luan or a composite material. Then it'll go the rigid block foam and then your aluminum and then the inner walls. The composite material is impervious to water, as they say, and Luan is just a thin sheet of wood. What happens when wood gets wet? It starts to look like this. I'm sure you've seen it. Like older trailers, they start to bubble. The wood starts to degrade. It gets moldy. So that Luan, if water gets in there, it is a huge problem. So this company not only uses that composite material that I just showed you, that sticker, they double layer that composite material. So the inside and outside walls, inside and out, composite construction, huge. So, woo, that is a lot of information. Like I told you guys, I do not cut corners. If you're new to the channel, I hope you got some good value out of it. I figure I'd rather give you too much information than not enough. Like I said, once you get annoyed with me, just shut me off. Whoa, going in and out. Whoa, I'm seeing dots. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that tour. High quality brand, top to bottom. Everything about it is built very good. Cabinetry, the outer walls, the inner walls, the aluminum framing, your countertops, the list goes on why this is a superior product to the competition out there. If you want to know where I'm located at Albuquerque RV in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Our phone number will be down below in the description. So if you call in, please just ask for Tyler because I am a full-time salesperson. I am not a YouTuber. A lot of these YouTubers, they do the YouTube stuff full-time, which is crazy. My videos get pretty long and extensive, so I'm running around like a crazy person. So if you could ask for me if you call in, or if you put a lead in on our website, just say, hey, I want to talk to that annoying kid on YouTube, and they'll pass it on to me. So if you're not, hit that subscribe button, baby. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. And we have a lot of great tours. Maybe I'll do a no-boat tomorrow. But you guys have a good evening, a good afternoon, good night, good morning, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys.